Hey, good morning, everybody. It's BDF44 coming at you with another video. So, as you guys probably have seen, if you scroll to my most recent videos, I made a video um, about Kyrie Irving. It was somewhat a basketball conversation, but mostly about just my perception of his behavior, my perception of some of the things that I've seen him say and things that people say about him, and just my whole point of view on what I think he's doing and so on and so forth. And then a few things happened since since my video. I made the video before I saw the footage that's going around of him at his sister's birthday party dancing. Before I saw footage of him on a Zoom with an actress. Um, I think I think Kyrie Irving could possibly be going through what I considered a mental health crisis. Um, or he could be protesting as I thought. Him going to his sister's birthday party is one of those situations where it's like, and I don't think I've heard a single soul say this, but I'm gonna say this. I think, well, there's two things. First of all, I don't think he cares as it pertains to him having the issue, whatever the issue he's having right now personally. Going to his sister's birthday party is probably therapeutic for whatever that situation is. And if he has something going on with his family, then he should be around his family, his sister and his dad. That's who I want him around when he's going through whatever it is that he's dealing with. Okay, so that's the first thing I got to say about that. I'm not as mad at him for going to that party. I am upset at him for not being responsible in terms of being seen wearing a mask. Look, when it comes down to this pandemic, many people believe many different things about how to treat this thing. I don't personally think we've done everything we should in terms of having it contained. And I don't think it's really possible in the circumstances that we live in, the ecosystem that we live in, to do so. It's either you suffer financially to a point of poverty to protect yourself from this thing, or you teeter the line of what you can and cannot do and try to continue to make a living. Those are the options that I see personally. I don't really see anything else. And I haven't seen anything else since the beginning of this thing. And that's why I kept working. So it's like, if the COVID doesn't kill me, poverty will. It's that simple. I'll take my chances with COVID. That's just a personal choice based on the fact of my own circumstances. So I understand Kyrie Irving not being afraid to go out there and dance and be around his family and celebrate his sister's birthday, because quite frankly, I would love to celebrate my sister's birthday. You know what I mean? And I would have no problem calling off work to attend to something like that if it mattered that much to me, in which it would. So I don't I don't look at him and say he's wrong for being there. I just wish he would have wore a mask. He should communicate with his team. And that's important. And I said in the video, so et cetera, et cetera. You can go back and look at that video. You'll see exactly how I feel about that. This is what needs to happen now. A lot of people are calling for Kyrie Irving to retire. I think it's a decent idea. It's not the one that I have in mind, but it's a decent idea. Pull a mic, pull a MJ, bro. Walk away from the game for a year or two. Do whatever it is that you need to do. Find yourself missing the game. Come back to it when you do. Excuse me. Sorry about that. At the end of the day, you're going to be a coveted player because you can do something that no one else can do, and that's dribble the ball better than everybody. So whenever he decides to come back, he can be 36 years old. If he decides to come back, he's going to find himself on a roster. Okay? So let's just leave that there. I think the idea that Kyrie Irving's losing value in this league because of this stunt, I think that's overstated. I think it's possible, but I do believe it's overstated because of the skill set. He's just a great player. The thing about it is his reputation is set in stone. He's a disruptor, and he's selfish. Now, he's not selfish in a traditional sense to where you'll see it in forms of him being a jerk or whatnot or whatever. But the selfishness tends to run its ugly head when it comes to situations such as these. I'm protesting. I believe I should be. What I want to do is what prioritizes, and whatever happens to you, so be it. I can't control that. I would love for you not to suffer. I think I've heard him say something along those lines. I would love to not cause so much trouble. But for whatever reason, it's like an entitlement thing for him. It's like, because I feel this strongly, I have control over myself. I prioritize my life and, so on and so forth. But as you grow and as you start to understand things, just like most mature human beings, you realize that sometimes that causes more drama, that creates more bad energy, that creates more negativity, being that way than not. And Kyrie's still a young guy, so I'm guessing he's still learning the fruit, and sometimes just simply doing things that you don't want to do. It just comes with time, and I don't know that Kyrie's even 30 at this point. He might be 30. I don't even think he's 30 yet. So he's going to have to learn that lesson. He's still growing as a man, and this is going to be a tough lesson for him to learn because, you know, I think he's going to get himself traded. Now, here's the thing. I've been reading the tea leaves on this whole situation with James Harden for a while, and I've made a lot of videos about that too. I'm starting to think that his behavior, particularly toward the Nets, has to do with them coveting James Harden. And I said this just like I read the tea leaves in James Harden's situation. When as soon as they fired Daryl Morey, I said, yo, he gonna want out of there. As soon as the Nets showed interest in James Harden, it made it very clear to me that they were choosing James Harden over Kyrie Irving because those two players cannot play together in theory. And those two players probably would have to be traded from one another in order for the trade to take place. Now, if KD co-signed this notion and wanted to play with his old player, James Harden, then chances are Kyrie Irving would feel slighted by that notion, even though it's the most logical choice for a guy like KD on the basketball floor because James Harden is simply a greater player than Kyrie Irving, and that's just cut and dry. It has nothing to do with personality. It has nothing to do with nothing else. If we're just talking about who's the player that you rate higher in this league, it's James Harden as of 2021, and it's been that way for a bit now, and it is what it is. That's something that Kyrie Irving has to understand, and I'm not saying that in terms of you must understand it. I'm saying it is in the back of his mind. He knows it to be true. That's what I'm saying to you. He knows that, and that probably doesn't feel too good, knowing that KD has chosen to play with James Harden instead of you. Because we know damn well the Nets don't even look in the direction of James Harden if KD ain't with it. We all know that. So I was kind of hinting around at this in various videos when I talked about James Harden. And I said, you know, you could try to put him and Kyrie Irving together. If you could pull off the trade, you certainly should. If you can get it done without giving up Kyrie Irving, it's probably something that you have to do if you're the GM of the Nets. But what happens then is you have a Kyrie Irving who's the third man out, who hates that role and was trying to get the heck away from that role in Cleveland, which is why he found himself in Boston. He didn't want to be in that role. He didn't want to play behind nobody, and he didn't want to be on a bad team. He didn't want to play with LeBron James, they say. I had a different theory about that. I thought he was trying to jump ahead of LeBron James and get out of there knowing that LeBron was leaving and didn't want to play his expiring year in a Cleveland Cavaliers jersey, trying to get a contract when the team wasn't going to be winning. I thought he was just being smart and that the media was running with the narrative. But I have heard no evidence to support my theory. You see what I'm saying? That's just my own theory. So with that being said, I am forced to listen to the things that are being said all over the league, and that kind of coincides with this. So at this point, it's like, all right, maybe Kyrie just simply feels slighted. Maybe he feels like with everything going on in the world, COVID going on, he lives in New York. New York got hit with COVID, probably one of the hardest places in the world. I don't know what his situation is. Maybe he lost some people. Maybe he's very affected by that. And it's just a perfect storm of a lot of things that would make him not want to play basketball. Perfect storm of a lot of things that would make him not want to play for Brooklyn. So, my conclusion is the Houston Rockets, on one hand, before I get to my conclusion, probably should consider not doing this. So you know where I'm going. But if you're the Nets, you definitely are trying to offer Kyrie Irving for James Harden right here and now. Right here and now. And if that ain't a deal you can get, you're probably offering him Sacramento. Try to get Buddy Hield and a couple other guys. If you're not getting that to work, maybe you try to offer him to random team C and for another package. At this point, and this is tough, but the Brooklyn Nets need to move on from Kyrie Irving, they need to do that now. Right now. Right here and now. Because what they have going on is a bad start to a slow season and some key injuries, particularly in Kyrie Irving's position, that makes them very thin at the point guard position. And a KD who's playing amazing, but still is recovering from a very serious Achilles injury. And if he has to take on a much greater role because Kai ain't there and because Spencer ain't there, now you're looking at chances are KD's not going to be able to drag you to the promised land, and he certainly ain't going to be able to beat the Lakers when he gets there. It's just not going to happen. He's going to be worn out from the load and undermanned with the roster as currently constructed. They must get something to make that team better right now. And that has nothing to do with Kyrie Irving per se. That just has to do with what the Brooklyn Nets are dealing with without Spencer Dinwiddie and without Kyrie Irving. It's not good enough. They were barely good enough when he was down there, when those guys were down there. And that's not real. What I mean by that is that's not how we see it going. They should be able to figure themselves out and still make it to the playoffs, to still get past the first and second rounds. But the issue is not about whether or not they can get it together and get good. The issue is whether they can get it together and win a ring. And the answer is hell no. Not right now. They can't. They're not good enough right now. They're not good enough right now. And with Kyrie Irving doing whatever it is that he's doing right now, they're at risk of being possibly the 8th seed or a play-in seed in the Eastern Conference. That kind of stuff can get coaches fired. Steve Nash just got there. So, yeah, trading Kyrie Irving should be probably priority number 1 right now. There's nothing else to talk about. And James Harden got on the podium and basically said, I'm out. Like, paraphrasing, this is irreconcilable. I am out of Houston. I love the city, but I ain't messing with them no more. So it's like, we're not good enough. And that's what he's saying. Hey, at this point, even if Kyrie Irving doesn't land in Houston, he should definitely be a part of a 3-team or 4-team trade involving James Harden. That's easy. That's easy money at this point. Both of these guys, you can justify trading. Both of these guys probably should be getting out of the cities they're in. And the sick thing about this whole situation with Kyrie is this is his team. This is the team he wanted. That's like me doing this if I got to the Lakers. Like, you know what I mean? You wait all this time. You deal with Boston. You didn't want to be there. You dealt with Cleveland your whole career. You didn't want to be there. You finally get home. And now suddenly you step on your blessing. And this is what I'm talking about. This is just another aspect of the conversation. When you're a guy like Kyrie Irving and you're responding to negativity, or you're responding to stress, you're responding to whatever your circumstances are, personal, mental health, whatever it is, you had better be damn sure that you're not moonwalking yourself into self-destruction. Backing yourself into self-destruction. Paying attention to what's in front of you, being considerate of that, but not being considerate of the other things behind you. That could be even worse than what it is that you're trying to maneuver out in front of you. Kyrie Irving has to have a greater scope, and he needs to have people around him. And I'm looking at his daddy. I'm looking at his father, because you saw your son standing up there dancing and shit. Like, come on, man. You a ball player yourself, and you are not him. You know what he's doing to his career when he's standing up there buckling his knees and dancing and shit. When you know damn well his team is talking about they don't know where he is and they can't figure out what's going on. You have no business as his dad dancing, man. You got to pull your son aside, put your arm around his shoulder and say, look, son, look, you ain't going to be 29 forever. You ain't going to be in a position to make this kind of money forever. You're not going to be in this space where you're searching for this and that and the third forever, bro. You're going to be sitting on a couch at 55 years old, figuring out why the hell you did this. That's what's going to happen, Kyrie. You're going to be wondering why the hell you did this now, when your body was in a position to get the most out of it and have an NBA career and make millions of dollars, generational wealth for your family forever. Yes, you got probably $100 million in the bank. But that could balloon to $500 million. If you get all this NBA money and invest it properly, you can flip that to $1 billion. And I know it's not all about money, but when you're considering what matters to Kyrie Irving, one of the things that are most important involving the things that Kyrie Irving is most passionate about is funding. Funding for his most personal cares. He's going to want cash for that. And maybe he has it already, but maybe he's being self-destructive, and that speaks to possibly other things, maybe even financial malfunctioning somewhere down the road. When people do stuff like that, they tend to lose money too. He's already showing us that money is not his value because he's throwing some of it away in regards to the situation at hand. Sometimes I think people use personal issues. They use social issues. They use everything they can grasp to justify or make an excuse for simply making self-destructive decisions. They will say, oh, I'm trying to find a deeper meaning in this. I'm protesting that. No, bro. Whether your psyche is allowing you to see it or not, you're actually protesting yourself. Because the only person who's going to be hurt by your action is you. And it's not having the desired effect because they're too busy talking about how wrong you are for doing it this way. The conversation is not, oh, Kyrie cares so much about the community that he's protesting. The conversation is Kyrie doesn't care enough about his team and his franchise and himself to do the right things for his career, to make the sacrifices necessary to display himself as a team player and a staunch professional. Those things have to matter, man. Those things have to matter because you are a role model, whether you like it or not. There are kids who are watching you saying, I want to be like Kyrie Irving. Ooh, Kyrie sits down and burns sage. Maybe that makes me a great player. I'm a burn sage. Kyrie stand up for social issues. I'm going to stand up for social issues. Kyrie is calling off his job. He don't want to come to work today. I ain't coming to work today. I ain't like what I saw at the Capitol. I ain't coming to work today. My sister's birthday is happening and I'm feeling some kind of way. I don't want to deal with the media. I don't have to talk to them. Instead of trying to discipline himself to deal with what he should be dealing with, he is trying to manipulate the world around him so that it fits his comfort zone. And as somebody who's done that for a long time, it only hurts you. It only hurts you. I know that trait because I have it in myself. You cannot effectively manipulate the universe to fit your comfort zone. The object of the game is to jump out of your comfort zone so that you can grow strength from your challenges. If you don't face those challenges, if you don't face those responsibilities, the only thing that ultimately gets hurt is your legacy. Your legacy, not theirs. Ain't nobody gonna be looking at LeBron James after this saying, well, Kyrie Irving just didn't want to play with LeBron James because LeBron James was a bad guy. No, people gonna look at Kyrie Irving for the display that he's shown us since and say, well, that wasn't LeBron's fault. Even if there was something there, it ain't LeBron's fault. That's just Kyrie being Kyrie. Because everywhere he gone, he's done the same thing. He ain't care nothing about nobody but Kyrie's comfort. That's the only thing he cared about managing was his own pain, his own concerns. And I'm telling you, that is not fruitful. That is not wise. In fact, that's the great antithesis of wisdom. That's trying to cope with stuff without extending yourself to anyone other than yourself. And that's not good. That's not good. I don't know what his faith is or what his beliefs are or what he's reading. But I can assure you, if it's telling him to do what he's doing, he needs to stop reading that shit. Because it ain't the right way to go. There are ways to do things. There's balance to be found. And that balance is not being found in Kyrie Irving's actions at this time. Regardless of what the truth is. I don't care if it's 6 people in his family that have been sick with COVID and he's concerned about their life. There are ways to do things so that you can cover your backside, protect your future, protect that of your legacy, protect that of your teammates and your reputation with those people. Protect that of your business interests down the road. It's one thing that I always talk about. Being a friend to my future. Doing things that help me along the way. Even if that means something that's going to hurt a little bit today, if it's going to help me tomorrow, it's probably the thing to do. Why? Because if I'm not going to be hurting, initiating my own pain in whatever this struggle is that has to be overcome, then I'm going to catch it on the back end. For not doing so. For neglecting and having inactivity or what have you. That stuff is going to hurt me. Just like whatever I have to do is going to hurt right now. But much more so. If I don't focus on what needs to be done here. So these are lessons that Kyrie's about to learn. And look, it's okay to want to be deep. It's okay to want to be socially aware. It's okay to want to protest and speak up. But you got to be responsible. You got to have a plan. You got to have, just like LeBron was trying to explain to everybody during that bubble situation when everything that happened in Wisconsin went down. The teams were talking about letting go of their playing and just going forward and boycotting. You better have a plan. You can't just go to dark and just be quiet. And that's exactly what Kyrie appears to be doing. Just going dark and being quiet, doing whatever he wants to do to make himself comfortable, make himself happy, keep his own mental health straight. And I'm telling you, you're just doing more damage to yourself trying to manage yourself. You need to face your fears, face your circumstances, face your responsibilities, face your circumstances head on. That is the best way to find balance. Because otherwise, you're going to be overcompensating, trying to make yourself comfortable, and causing all kinds of damage behind you. So that's what I think. This is another conversation about Kyrie's behavior. It's misguided. It's self-destructive. It's selfish. And most importantly, it's a bad display for others to follow, regardless of what the truth is. There are things bigger than basketball. I get it. There's life going on. I get it. I hear you, Kyrie. I've listened to you. The media is that manipulates you. They will manipulate everybody. I get all of your sentiment more so than most people will even expect to get it. I get it. But here's what you need to get. You're feeding them when you do this. You're giving them ammunition to use against you and the rest of your peers, because they will judge them based on what it is they're seeing from you. You know that's how they are. You know that's how they are. I hope Kyrie see both of the videos I made on him, because this is important stuff. Whether it applies or not, something in here is true. I'm not too far off. I know it. Something in what I'm saying finds its way into the truth of his situation. He has got to stop doing damage to his own legacy. My name is BDF44, and I'm out.